him, but a lot of Americans are saying that, the surges are happening under President Biden's watch after he reversed some previous policies. So does the administration take any accountability for what's happening?
Who are the Americans?
Well, I know you don't want to answer to him, but the former president just released a statement saying that the Biden administration must act immediately to end the border nightmare that they have unleashed onto our nation.
Former President Trump?
Yes.
We don't take our advice or counsel from former President Trump on immigration policy, which was not only inhumane, but ineffective. Over the last 4 years, we're going to chart our own path forward, and that includes treating children with humanity and respect and ensuring they're safe when they cross our borders.
Now, first and foremost, Weijia Jiang is a stellar reporter and was one of the most relentless voices holding truth to power in the last administration, but I do want to point out that I wholeheartedly disagree with the framing of this question. To start, Donald Trump does not say things in good faith. He says things that benefit his politics and his wallet. So to then use something Donald Trump said as if it's representative of the broader population is wholly misleading. Donald Trump doesn't represent Americans, he represents himself. But to Jen Psaki's point, this administration doesn't, nor should they behave in response to what Donald Trump says or does. For one thing, he's not the president. He lost the last election by 7 million votes and an electoral college margin that he himself called a landslide when he beat Hillary Clinton by that same margin in 2016. When you lose the election, you surrender your right to dictate policy. And don't take it from me, Mitch McConnell was the one who said, "Winners make policy, losers go home." And to be honest, telling Trump just to go home is the nicest place I can think of telling him to go. But second, Trump's got zero moral authority to dictate anything with regard to immigration policy. First of all, it was the Trump administration that started a policy of child separation at the border. And no, this is not the same as the Obama administration's policy of having detention centers. The point of the Trump administration's actions was to create a policy where children were separated from their moms and dads. It was so clearly inhumane so as to deter other migrants from attempting entry. The cruelty wasn't accidental, it was the point. Here is Jeff Sessions himself quite literally admitting that this policy was a deterrent.
General Sessions, is this policy in part used as a deterrent? Are you trying to deter people from bringing children or minors across this dangerous journey? Is that part of what the separation is about?
Fundamentally, we're enforcing the law. If you break into the country in an unlawful...
But is it a deterrent, sir?
Well,
are you considering this a deterrent?
I see that the fact that no one was being prosecuted for this as a factor in a 5-fold increase in 4 years in this kind of illegal immigration. So yes, hopefully people will get the message and come through the border at the port of entry and not break across the border unlawfully.
When the goal is to create a policy so depraved to scare people away from entering the country, you pretty much relinquish your right to criticize any other administration's policies. And that's not to mention a spate of other policies and rhetoric regarding immigration that were born out of the Trump administration. Most notably, he threatened to close the Mexican border outright, spent most of his presidency pushing for a wall, and even referred to those who migrated to the US as drug dealers and rapists.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
So again, the thought that that guy gets to dictate policy despite losing the election is a hard no. Now, as to the core of the issue here, which is the border, Biden's DHS secretary has disputed claims that a wave of immigrants seeking entry has amounted to a crisis. But in preparation for arrivals, the administration has taken steps, including opening facilities to house migrants. According to White House Assistant Press Secretary, quote, President Biden has asked senior members of his team to travel to the border region in order to provide a full briefing to him on the government response to the influx of unaccompanied minors and an assessment of additional steps that can be taken to ensure the safety and care of these children. And a few things can be true here. First, we should acknowledge that unaccompanied minors can't just be released into the US, and so some type of housing is necessary so that kids aren't just walking around the country alone. Second, given that housing is necessary, these facilities need to focus primarily, first and foremost, foremost on the safety and dignity of the children. And finally, that these facilities should not be a permanent fix, and none of that can be compromised on. But again, with that said, the last person who has the moral authority to dictate these things is any member of the Trump administration, and certainly not Trump himself. To see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the notification bell. And please subscribe to my podcast, No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, where I not only break down the biggest stories of the week, but I also interview major players in the world of politics, including Vice President Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, Nancy Pelosi, Katie Porter, Pete Buttigieg, Cory Booker, Jamie Raskin, and many more. Again, that's No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, available anywhere you listen to podcasts.